cars rolling around now on the warm-up lap, and that win for Will Brown tightens the margin. Cam Hill is the points leader on 650. Will Brown now 624, and Tim Brook, who was third in that first race, is third in the series points on 602. So looking forward to this one, where we've got the Toyota 86 Series. If you haven't seen it, it's the third event of this inaugural series. Everyone's driving the same Toyota 86s, the 2-litre 4-cylinder, good for about 179 kilowatts, groove Dunlop tyre, and what it's proving is to be a great little car that's turning on great racing up and down the field.
And so even, the cars are so even, so no one's really stretching their legs and disappearing out in front, and we've seen lots of side-by-side action. And as we spoke about yesterday, they're not over-gripped. They're definitely not overpowered, but they're not over-gripped. So we can see the cars four-wheel drifting over the top of the hill, sliding, understeering. You really have to drive the car. You can't just hold it flat everywhere. It really requires skill and finesse to get the most out of these cars.
It's retro round, and in car 36, we've got a guy who many of you will remember, Tony Longhurst, the former Bathurst winner. Leanne Tander's back with us as well. Great to have Leanne with us in car 42.
And up into the top 10 in that first race as well for Leanne, so she's really getting the hang of these Toyota 86s this weekend as well.
Yeah, picked up 6 spots, started from 16th. So it's a progressive grid for the Toyotas in their race meetings. Where they finish one race is where they start the next race. And Toyota 86s on the track at Sandown, getting set for their second hit out of the weekend. It's race 8 of the 2016 championship, and Will Brown, a winner earlier in the day, will start from pole position. Let's take a look at how they line up. Luke King alongside Tim Brook and Aaron Seaton on row 2. Then it's David Cedars and Stephen Johnson. Series leader Cameron Hill starting from P7. Damon Strongman's been moved to the rear of the grid from being excluded for contact in the earlier race today. 3 invited drivers on the grid, Alex Davison in Stephen Johnson, Leanne Tander, and it's great to have Tony Longhurst here, who back in 1985, I think it was 31 years ago yesterday, he won the Sandown 500 with Jim Richards for the factory BMW team.
And both those guys still racing actively. Jim, of course, in TCM, Tony Longhurst making a bit of a racing comeback now, so plenty of guys from the retro era are still running this weekend here at Sandown.
Yeah, Tony's got the bug again. He left supercars and he went away and did some other things. He got the bug again and went production car racing. The bug left, it's come back.
The bug never leaves, unfortunately. The bug doesn't leave.
It stays somewhere in the system. It just gets in the bloodstream again.
Exactly.
Getting set for this Toyota 86 Series race at Sandown. Stephen Johnson will be on board with the famous number 17. This one is due to be over 15 laps. We're waiting for that green flag, which will be the signal to the starter to get it underway. There's a chance here for the poleman, Will Brown, to close that margin in the championship even more on Cameron Hill, who's starting back on the 4th row of the grid. 8th race of the championship. Away we go to turn 1. The little Toyotas are off and rolling.
Stevie Johnson with a great start, and Tim Brook in the 34 car struggling a little bit off the line, but look at them, they're 4 wide into turn 1 just about.
It's a big pack of cars. Aaron Seaton already carving around the outside of Tim Brook. He gets to P3. Stephen Johnson's trying to work his way through. They're in the grass there. Cameron Crick, John Goodacre, as they all try to sort themselves out. This is where it's easy to trip over one another because they're all swarming. It's a pack of 32 cars have started this race. Longhurst and Grice trying to carve their way through. Once upon a time, that was Tony fighting Alan Grice. Now he's fighting his son, Ben.
That was the scariest moment I've seen so far, but they've done a great job to get through the first sector, and this is the danger period of the first lap. Is now, we're through that. Brown, Brook up the inside of Johnson, side by side over the top of the hill. Can Stevie hang on to it?
Oh, that's brave stuff.
Whoa.
Stevie stays with it, gets back down the inside. Great move.
That was a good move.
Great move. Stephen Johnson, I thought he was gone, but he stayed with it on the outside and then dived straight back up the inside.
I can't say I've ever seen that move done before, so that was cool. He was swapped from the right side to the left side, got up the inside. So Stevie now up to P5, up to P4 with that move.
The problem is, though, because of that, the top 3 have been able to edge away. Isn't this stunning? New series in 2016. We rolled out at Winton a few months ago with 41 cars. It's been an instant hit, and now Luke King is having to cover off a very fast Aaron Seaton.
Yeah, there's nothing covering these top 3. As I say that, Will Brown, whoa!
Series leader turn one. And this is great news for Will Brown out front in the championship. Tim Brook, who finished third in the first race, he's involved as well. And he's a guy who was third coming into the weekend. So this is great news for Will Brown. He leads the race, and his two nearest championship rivals are nowhere.
We don't know what happened there, but Cameron Hill flying through the air with both cars tangling at turn one. So that was a little bit messy, but luckily both got panels hanging off, but it looks like they can continue in this race. But Will Brown doing a great job still out in front. He's winning everything at the moment, dominating in F4 and winning the Toyota 86 races as well.
Let's have a look at a replay, Alex, off the start here with Stephen Johnson. That's David Cedars to the left in car number 3. That's Tim Brook in car 34, so a nice start.
Look at the advantage Stevie's getting with his gear shifts. They're nice, quick, sharp shifts, and you can see the advantage he was getting to the cars around him. Tim Brook on the inside, Stevie hanging around the outside. And we saw them all funnel through turn one without too many dramas. A couple of cars bouncing around there, but they'll avoid major contact.
And this is a bit further on with Stephen Johnson.
This is good to see.
Tim Brook grabs another gear. There's a bit of a bobble there.
Yeah, so Brooks had a little bit of a miss shift, or maybe just not quick enough on the shift, although I'd say he missed the gear there to get that much of a disadvantage. But he gets back up the inside. See him getting the side draft off Stephen Johnson. Get your nose up near their rear wheel and you get that massive advantage. Steve holds on the right-hand side.
Bang, down the inside. Got it done. Great move. Gear. Got it done.
He found one in the end, and beautiful move. It looked better from the outside. We didn't see him.
Here we go. Cam Hill was down the inside. Out of control. Couldn't stop it. Tim Brook's an innocent bystander and gets carted off the road.
So he was just trying to get, he was sort of out-braking David Cedars and looked like he just got a little bit out of control, hard on the ABS, and couldn't stop in time to hit poor Tim Brook.
Yeah, it's a real shame. Will Brown is leading the way, but he's under massive pressure from Luke King and Aaron Seaton. That's Jake Klein putting a move down the inside on Dylan Gulson. That's the fight for position 6. Those guys have risen up through the field from where they qualified, but it's Will Brown, who, young gun from Toowoomba. He's had his first taste of a supercar in recent weeks with Lucas Dumbrell Motorsport. He's been winning in Formula 4, he's been successful in Formula Ford, and he's got his eyes next year on joining the Dunlop Series. He's already stated that intention in the last couple of weeks, but right now, he's got to worry about Luke King, who is shadowing him ever so closely as they run to turn 1. Great fight here in the middle of the pack. Hayden Clark in the yellow number 35 car, Leanne Tander, Ben Grice. Thing is, in Toyota 86 Racing Series competition, Alex, there's never a moment to get lonely because you're always around somebody.
Yeah, there's nobody with clear, hardly anybody with clear air out there from 1st to 34th. On board with Leanne Tander here. She's doing a great job up in the top 10. She was up to 8th a couple of laps ago and just lost a couple of spots. She's a very experienced driver, Leanne.
Oh, yeah, has been winning still in Formula Ford National Series competition this year, driving for the Sonic team. And I mean, she was winning in Formula Ford back in 2000, spent some time in the DVS, has done some production car racing, was a runner-up in the Formula 3 Gold Star, has an amazing resume, Leanne Tander, and now is putting plenty of pressure on here for 9th place.
And she's the only girl to win a national Formula Ford race. That was back in 2000 when...
Phillip Island.
Yeah, when my brother... I was actually working on Will's car that weekend, so I took responsibility because I made a mistake on... I made a mistake working on his car.
Look at this. There's a mistake here. John Iafola just in front. He was slow onto the main straight. And Hayden Clark, they had a rub and nearly both ended up in the pit straight fence. Iafola's got damage to the bonnet that's starting to just flap up there. You'll see the bottom of shot.
Yeah, going to get up the inside. She's got one of her spots back up to 9th, so that's a good job. Benny Grice now.
Yeah, he gets Hayden Clark, who now falls into the clutches of everybody else. Oh boy, Duncan Harrison took a lot of curb there. John Goodacre out there doing a good job right in amongst this hard battle in the midfield. He's an experienced Porsche driver. He was at the in my team actually at the Pro-Am Racing Carrera Cup driving with Michael Arman this year. So he's another very experienced racer, enjoying
Toyota 86 series, but this top three has sort of edged out a gap on Stephen Johnson, who's now under a lot of pressure from David Cedars. So Steve unable to sort of hold on to that top three.
Oh, Ben Grice here trying to get a move on Leanne Tander, couldn't quite get it done over the top through the S's at Dandenong Road. There is that flapping bonnet again on the number 81 car of John O'Fold, the young teenager who's being looked after by Jose Fernandez, former racer in the Dunlop Series and also in the Supercars Championship.
Callum Jones just getting back out onto the track there, obviously in for repairs after his... Did he have damage? I thought he was off the track, but he's...
You're telling the story here.
Yeah, I know. I was getting
well, there's some damage. There it is. That's the muffler off the back. I think that might have been his.
He's back on the track anyway, so
okay.
That's happy days.
Right. He's down the tail of the field and a lap down after a quick trip to pit lane, but back to the front. Top three, Will Brown, Luke King, Aaron Seaton. So just see how you feel about this. Will Brown, 18 years of age at last count. Luke King, 26, so he's a little bit older. He's not in the teenager stakes. Aaron Seaton, last time I checked, I think he's 17. I feel old. How do you reckon Stephen Johnson feels?
Older, but he's hanging with him. He's in this fight. He's got David Cedars right behind him, pressuring him. He's come through the field a little bit, Cedars.
Great job from Luke King here, because at the start of this week, he didn't have a deal. He wasn't going to race this round. There was a situation where he didn't have a car available from the team that he drove for earlier in the year. Gary Holt, that's his Eastern Creek Karts car that Luke's driving. Gary's in Singapore this weekend for the Formula One Grand Prix. Car became available, deal was done, got it down here to Melbourne, and he's out here challenging for the win. Boy, oh boy.
So that's either a badly buckled rim or a damaged shock absorber. I'd say he's...
Or about to be both.
Yeah, I'd say he's damaged a shock absorber over the curbs somehow, and that's when you see a wheel bouncing like that. It's uncontrolled. It's got nothing controlling the spring, so it becomes like a pogo stick.
Look at this, Will Brown, defensive at turn one. He's in really deep. Now Luke King wants the switchback manoeuvre. He won't pass him here at turn two, but it's all about setting it up for turn four.
He might try, and Luke King's got something hanging down under the right-hand side of his car too, so I hope it's nothing serious. It doesn't seem to be slowing him down, but this battle for the lead is not subsiding at all. There's nothing between these three guys. Aaron Seaton, it sounds good just to say he's sitting there quietly in third. I'm sure he's not just sitting there, he's giving it everything he's got, but he's sort of there waiting, watching these front two guys who are constantly side by side. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Seaton sweep by both of them at some stage if that battle intensifies a little bit.
They're all punching a hole in the air down that back straight, over the top. This is serious stuff. Remember, they're on a treaded, controlled Dunlop tyre that everyone's using the same rubber.
So Cedars just now through on Steve Johnson. So let's see if he's got anything. He's just done the fastest lap of the race at 27.4. So there's enough time, there's still 9 laps remaining. If he's fast enough, there's enough time that he could get involved in this battle for the lead as well, and it could be a four-way battle. But Will Brown, a little bit of a break out of that last corner. So this lap, for the first time in the last few laps, he doesn't need to cover Luke King in second, and he can take the ideal racing line into turn one. Let's see if he can use this opportunity to get a little bit of a break.
There's the margin from that top three. Back to Cedars and Johnson. Dylan Golson is the next guy on screen, the white car. He qualified 17th yesterday. There he is, the white number 98 car running through the shot. 24-year-old from Bathurst, hell of a place to be from if you want to be a racing driver. He's a journalism student at Charles Sturt Uni, so if he goes well, he can write his own headlines.
Yeah, well, there you go. He wouldn't be the first one there. First racing driver to write his own headlines. But Luke King's closed that gap that Will Brown had coming onto the pitch straight, and he's right in the slipstream, heading up the back straight there. Nothing between these guys. Aaron Seaton's just dropped off the back a little bit, but I'm sure we'll see him back in touch soon.
Cam Hill here is trying to get a bit of a fight back mission going. He's through on Tony Longhurst. That's for position 19, but with the way that it sits here, Will Brown stands to take the series lead at the end of this race. We're around half race distance at the moment as we climb on board with Tony Longhurst, Bathurst winner in 88 with Thomas Mazira, in 01 with our own Mark Scaife. And now this is on. Top three have closed that margin. Luke King has proven to not be afraid of the curbs. In the race earlier in the day, he went too hard, he took too much curb, but he's just on the fine line now, and he's getting the reward because he's making Will Brown run defensive. And if you're Aaron Seaton here, you stand to gain the world.
Absolutely. He'll just be watching these two guys. They're battling harder and harder. Is King going to have a look up the inside?
Oh, Brown's in deep, really deep.
Brown defending heavily. He loses some time on the exit of that first corner there. Difficult to follow cars through turn 2 and 3 because you can't see the curves. If you hit them too hard or not enough, it can really unsettle the car. But King doing a good job following Brown. Really concentrating on a nice exit. See what he can do up the back straight.
These guys are working out the suspension system that's been put into these cars. Murray Coote, who many of our rally fans will know of, has worked pretty hard on the package here, along with Neil Bates and the entire team who have produced this racing pack for the Toyota 86 Racing Series. They are menacing the curbs, concrete, grass, just about anything they can find. Leaders over at the S's, and they've just got that margin. Cedars has just snuck away a little from Stephen Johnson in 4th spot, but the winner's going to come from here.
But Cedars is reeling these guys in. He's considerably quicker. When I say that, that might mean 2/10 of a second a lap.
You know, one makes series, that's a lot.
And you can see visually that gap's getting smaller, and Stephen Johnson's holding on to him. So maybe David Cedars can drag Stevie Johnson up to this pack, but they're running out of time. 6 laps remaining once they cross the line here on this lap.
Will Brown won the last race at Sydney Motorsport Park. He won the first race earlier today. Josh Hunter here fighting with John Goodacre, and Josh has come from down near the back of the field. He's fighting for, I think, about 11th spot. The rest of them here having a Royal Rumble. It'll be 3 wide down the straight here for a moment, 4 if you're not careful.
And if you think it gets a little bit less intense in the midfield, you couldn't be further from the truth. The battling gets harder and harder the further down the field you go, and these guys are battling for 11th, 12th, 13th, right back to 16th place. And you'd swear they're battling for the win.
This is really, really tight. You've got right in the middle here Graham Smith in car 99. Car 5 is Damon Strongman, who started at the back of the grid. He was excluded from race 1 earlier today. Cam Hill in that 111 red Illawarra Toyota car. He's desperately trying to push his way back up the order and salvage some points from here, because the other thing too is it's not just salvaging points, it's salvaging grid positions, because the way this series works is like the supercars used to work, where you started the next race where you finished the last race.
Progressive grid, and it's good. You know, in some ways having 2 qualifying sessions is good. It gives you a chance to recover from a poor qualifying, but the progressive grid's also good because if you don't qualify well, it gives you a chance to move up through the field and improve as the weekend goes on.
Back on board here with Tony Longhurst, sitting position 20 and really among the action here at Sandown in the Toyota 86s. Great fight here as Tony Longhurst continues to put the pressure on Nick Filippetto. It's great to see Tony back behind the wheel. 2-time winner at Bathurst at the 1000 and also a winner at the 12-hour, long-time team owner in the supercars paddock. And now he's got a run here on Nick Filippetto, who is going to cover the inside line to turn 1. He's going to make Tony go the long way.
Tony's got the side draft though. We saw him get a good run onto that straight. Is he going to get far enough past to outbrake him into 1? And he's done it. He's moved straight across in front of him to cover him. Tony's seen all this stuff before.
Strongman and Crick off the road. So Damon Strongman, who started at the back of the grid and, well, he pretty much passed half the field, is now off the road at turn 1. He'll get rejoined and rolling again. Young teenager from Melbourne.
And Luke King having a look up the inside of Will Brown. There's a little bit of contact.
He did well there not to make contact, but he slowed himself down. Look at Cedars and Johnson.
And is Seaton going to have a look here with Luke King losing a bit of speed out of Dandenong Road corner?
Oh, it's just gone up a notch.
That was a very good try.
Seaton wide. This will give Cedars a sniff. It's all left. It's let Will Brown completely off the hook. Replay here. And this is how... Oh, Strongman's down the inside.
Crick,
It's bounced the curb. There's a dent in the door on Cameron Crick's car, but whether it was from that incident or another one is always hard to tell. But end result is both are off, ploughing through the scenery.
I have to say, Luke King didn't really do anything wrong there. That was good driving by both guys. Luke had a good crack at it. He got his car up the inside. He couldn't quite make it stick. But very good try, and let's see if Will Brown can hold that gap. It's nearly out to 1 second after that little battle. David Cedars is now all over the back of Aaron Seaton. Here we go. So King right behind Will Brown, ducks out from behind, up the inside. Brown squeezing him to the inside, right over the curb. Not really doing anything wrong there. He sort of gave him enough space that they didn't hit. Good racing though, good driving from both guys to avoid contact.
And Will gave him enough room to go with, enough room to give himself drive off the corner. That was well done by both of them, but now Luke King's got to defend from Aaron Cedars. Listen to the Dunlop squealing over the back.
Oh,
and
Brown's
it was Will
made
Brown.
a mistake.
He's run wide, he's slow off the corner. Luke King's going to pounce on him right here. But can Brown hang on?
You can hang around the outside here.
Got it done. Change of the lead. Luke King in the Eastern Creek Carts, number 22, has gone to the lead, but we now have a five-way fight for the win.
And young Stevie Johnson's right in the mix here.
Hang on, did he pay you to say that?
No, but I'm an old bloke now too, so makes me feel better.
We jump on board with Stephen Johnson. Look at them all, covering off the inside to turn one.
He's not even in the toe. He's just hoping they're all going to tangle and he's going to do a Bradbury through to the lead.
It worked for Stephen Bradbury.
Oh, King sticking his nose in.
He's off the road. Stephen Johnson will get that spot. Now, King, Seaton, Cedars, Johnson. Who wins? I don't want to guess.
And we've just been told this is the final lap of the race, so things have even got more serious.
And I reckon that's just gone through to them on the radios too, because they've stepped it up a notch onto the back straight at Sandown. It's all about crisp, clean gear changes. It's about slipstream. It's about getting the run. There's Stephen Johnson hooking another gear down the back straight towards the S's. How brave do you get? How deep do you go?
Who have we got right out? Luke King.
Luke King. He's
out
one
to
out,
the
one
right.
wide.
Seaton not in the toe. Seaton sort of defending. King's got a clean line over the top of the hill. He'll be hoping that Seaton doesn't throw it up the inside. He doesn't cover. Cedars covers from Stephen Johnson. Maybe Jono can get a run on him out of that Dandenong Road corner now.
It's taken 8 races for us to find our third new race winner in Toyota 86s. The question is, who is it going to be? Luke King, one more corner and he's got the job done. What a week it's been. He didn't have a drive a couple of days ago. He's put it together a deal. He's got to Sandown and he's got himself a win in race 8 of the Toyota 86 Racing Series. Stunning stuff. Well done, everybody. Damn good motor race.
Will Brown, after leading that whole race, goes down to 5th position on the final lap. He will be shattered. He drove so well, but these guys haven't finished yet.
No, Duncan Harrison, 12th position. Drew Ridge, John Goodacre and Cameron Hill, the series leader coming into the weekend. How was this? They all covered turn 1 and then they all popped out. Will Brown went really deep around the outside, tried to get it done.
He just turned in. He tried to turn in when he wasn't clear of Luke King and made contact with King's right front. That sort of unsettled him and put him to the back of that pack. So unfortunate for Will Brown, but Luke King, a very deserving winner. There's nothing taking away that from him.
Let's recap the order. Half a second the margin of win for Luke King over Aaron Seaton. Cedars, Johnson, Brown, 5 cars separated by 1.7 seconds. Jake Klein, 6th from Dylan Gulson. That's a great job. Ben Grice, Leanne Tander and Josh Hunter. Outside the 10, Hayden Clark and Duncan Harrison. Tony Longhurst moving forward into position 16. Cameron Hill, tough weekend at the office for our series leader coming to Sandown. Tim Brook, he had dramas as well. Ended up ranked back in 30th.